Hey traders, so welcome to Sharks Trading Academy's weekly market analysis, and for today we will start off with the dollar index. So you can see that over here we have a demand zone that was left unmitigated on the 8-hour time frame. So where is this going to move towards? It is probably going to accumulate at this level over here, reach towards highs over here. So this is an equal high, and eventually towards this supply area. You can see that this move is significant. And why is that so? Because over here, you can see that this high liquidated this high over here. This previous high got liquidated, grab, and break down. So this is the buy to sell move that liquidates previous high. And this left behind a supply area that we're going to look to target towards. So we are looking to buy here, buy the dollar, and sell the dollar over here. Next up, we have the Aussie dollar, and on the weekly standpoint, we have a demand area over here. And where is this likely to bring us towards? You can see that now we make a strong sell to buy move over here. Sell to buy move, liquidating previous lows, and now giving us a bullish move. So what I'm looking for would be a pullback into this order block for higher prices to be met. And if you can see on the daily time frame, we are looking to target towards liquidity highs here, and eventually move towards these highs over here. So this level over here and this area would be our next target for sales. So with this supply right above this high, we may be looking to liquidate these areas. So maybe this will give us a bounce towards demand areas to eventually accumulate to go higher, liquidating this level as well as trend line to finally distribute downside. So this would be the trading idea. So for now, look for buys. Wait for the pullback into areas over here as well as this level to catch buys. Next, we have the Bitcoin, and you can see that prices just grab liquidity right here, right? And now make a bullish move. So what we are looking for? We are definitely looking for higher prices to be met. And over here, we have a supply zone. Okay, and on the higher time frame, this may not be a strong area because this didn't liquidate any higher time frame positions. And this is a lower time frame supply area. So the truth is that we are looking for higher places to be met. This area here broke out of previous high, then caused the breakdown. So the entire buy to sell move happens here. Okay, so Bitcoin has a high tendency to move towards this area, back to the 60,000 level. And from then, we are looking for buy moves. We are going to look for buys or buys all the way until these prices has been met. Next, we have the Euro Pound, and you can see that it currently respected this supply zone on a 2-hour time frame and give us some sort of a bearish move. But over here we have trendline liquidity, and prices may mitigate somewhere lower, maybe here or even here, right? Before moving higher to grab them. So on the higher time frame, you can see that on top of this supply zone, we have a valid supply area that grabs liquidity here before the breakdown. And this means that prices has the intention of going higher if we visit these areas again. So the truth is that if prices breaks down of this level, we can be a seller, right? At this point of time, we could have been a seller, but we want to sell high. So if prices comes back up, we can sell into this demand that broke out of structure here. Then wait for the accumulation, the shift, the test to catch buys into this area of supply, because this is what we are looking for, right? If I want to be a seller, I want to sell here. I want to sell at the supply area over here because it liquidates all of these positions, and expect some sort of distribution over here to go potentially lower into these areas, because you can see breakout structure, and this means that our liquidity low would be over here. So unless this supply gets broken, we are going to target this liquidity low. And if this supply gets broken, then the next liquidity highs that we're targeting for would be this area and maybe this area. Next up, Euro Yen. So over here we have a supply area and another demand zone here. So this means that we're going to play around these two levels because prices just grab liquidity here as well. And we have two areas to get involved. The first would be prices moving into the supply, distributes on the lower time frame, and this move should bring us lower into demand zones over here. So if we see accumulation and a shift, we can buy into supply zones here and expect a breakout. Okay, and if you want to be a seller, we're not going to sell here. If prices accumulates over here and move towards our supply, you're not going to be a seller, because if I want to be a seller, I want to wait for the breakdown, then the pullback into supply zones here to catch sells to liquidate areas here, as well as this level. So the only way I would sell if it's this demand zone gets broken, or if prices distributes from this level over here. And if I want to be a buyer, I want to buy here. Next up, we have the New Zealand dollar, and this is pretty clear cut. We have a sell to buy move here. You can see the sell that liquidates this position, the buy up, leaving behind demand areas. So we are looking to buy here and here. Okay, so because you want to buy at discounted prices, so you want to buy below the 50% area. So if prices comes back down, accumulates inside of here, we can place a buy. And if prices comes back lower, we can also buy over here. And where is our target? Our target would be the high that was created before the pullback. So if prices decides to pull back from here, then we are going to target this high. If prices moves higher and before the pullback, then we're going to target this high. Okay, and our next level of target will be this area, and ultimately looking for this supply to be mitigated, because this is the last buy to sell that broke out of structure and continue this flow, right? So if prices moves back higher, this is a liquidity grab to tap into the supply areas, and we're going to look for distributions and the shift in structure to catch sells into this area over here. Here we have UCAD, and prices just broke out of structure on a 4-hour time frame, leaving behind liquidity highs here. So now can you see that if prices were to pull back into this area, we could be a seller to sell into this ultimate demand zone, because over here now prices break structure, leaving behind a supply zone that is able to mitigate towards right over here, but prices continue to deliver lower. And now if prices were to pull back, we still have enough room for prices to reach towards this demand zone. However, if prices were to mitigate the demand zone first, if prices makes a move down and then starts to accumulate from here, then we expect all of these highs to be ran. This high, this high, this high over here, these highs over here, all to be used as liquidity points for take profit areas, and then ultimately moving into this supply zone. So this supply zone didn't broke out of major structure here, because we are gladly going to take a sell if prices was to break down, tapping into this area, then perhaps pull back into this area over here. Then we can look for distribution to move lower, because this is a bearish movement. But if prices were to hold, if this demand zone were to hold, then this technically didn't break the major structure here. And that is why we expect this to be ran.